Okay, so hi everybody. Hello, Kellita.
Hi, Bings, and everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. And so this is another interview for Gentleness Ambassadors, and
Yes.
I've been connecting with Kellita and also learning from Kellita through her online workshops, which I'm very grateful to be able to attend. And she wants to be part of this series, so I'm really happy to
Yeah,
invite you to share your thoughts and wisdom about gentleness.
I just
So
love being a gentleness ambassador in this beautiful platform that you're creating, Bings. That you are the gentleness ambassador.
thank
It's
you.
very beautiful. Yeah.
So would you like to just share more about yourself first, me
Oh, sure,
and your business, what you do, what you call yourself?
sure. Um, I call myself a lot of things, but one thing that others call me that I think really I tried to shake it off actually, but they didn't stop. So okay, I'm a showgirl shaman. And so I'll define very briefly both of those words. In in my vocabulary, a showgirl is a woman who generously reveals her true radiant essence and thereby shows the way for her sisters. So
Beautiful.
this can be through the creation of a conscious burlesque solo, but not necessarily then. Just any time that a woman or anyone um, is shining out their essence through their body and letting other people bask in the radiant essence that they are. They're being an awakening showgirl. And shaman, in the sense, it's not the sense that I was trained in a specific tradition. It's actually kind of a postmodern shaman,
Yeah.
um, because this I'm using burlesque, facilitating the creation of a conscious burlesque solo as a way to of soul retrieval. So that's where the shamanic aspect comes in. We're just doing it in an unusual way, but basically I'm a somatic burlesque educator and facilitator and mentor.
Beautiful. It's very fun to attend your burlesque workshops. So let me just share your slides. Okay.
Right.
Show your beautiful face.
Thank you.
Your
Thank you to
radiant.
In Her Image Photography. They took this beautiful picture
Yes.
here in California.
And your website is Showgirl Awakening. I
Yes.
really love the quiz that you have, the free quiz on the
Oh,
Showgirl
yeah.
archetypes. Would you like
Yes,
to share more about that?
I would a little because I have actually felt there are 9 Showgirl Awakening archetypes, and most of the names will make you think about old Hollywood, like diva, vixen, vamp, ingenue.
Yes.
But I'm reimagining those archetypes, which in the old movies are very much more like a caricature.
Mhm.
They're not the full whole version. So um, I'm through my work, I'm inviting each one of us who wants to step into the alive and well version of all 9 of the archetypes, because we all have all 9. But there's one, for most of us, there's one that is the strongest. And for me, it's ingenue. And the medicine of the ingenue is self trust.
Uh,
And I've been having my own self trust just feel very challenged over the last week or so.
uh-huh.
But this quiz, if you want to take it, it doesn't take long, and it's fun, but it also has a lot of psychological depth to it.
Yes.
You will be able to find out how alive and well you are expressing um, your particular archetype. So you won't only find out, oh, I'm a diva, or I'm a bombshell, or I'm a starlet, but you'll get to read some descriptions of how is it when she is alive and well within you, or how is it when she's collapsing, or when she's posturing. So it's a fun quiz, and you get to learn about yourself. And yeah, it's easy to find on the site, showgirlawakening.com/quiz.
Yes. Okay, cool. So I love your quiz, and I could actually see both the all three sides of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Identified
very
with
insightful.
which were you ingenue like me?
Ingenue, yes,
I
yes.
thought so. I thought so. We both
So
are.
yeah, before I became a mother, I was collapsing. After I became mother, I found myself posturing sometimes.
Yeah.
So now I'm shifting back to being alive and well.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it, Bings. Yeah.
So let's just take a look at your human design chart, and I'll just do a mini analysis so that we can appreciate you more from an energetic point of view.
Thank you.
So as a generator, you have lots of energies to put into your work to achieve mastery. So which I believe is the teachings that you're doing right now. And your profile actually shows how you learn and teach others. And what I love to call this is like you're both a Google and the Oracle. So
Oh,
yeah, it's like
say more about that.
the line one that's more conscious in you is about building a firm foundation of knowledge that you can readily share with others. And the line three, which is more unconscious part of you, is about needing to be more experimental in your approach to life,
Yeah.
trying out various stuff, and mostly feeling a lot in the first 28 years that when you learn that what doesn't work, you can also share that knowledge with others. So that's is building a good healthy relationship with knowing what works and what doesn't work for you. And yeah, so can you share more about that?
Well, it's funny. At least what I took from what you just said, I've been experiencing very much recently. And tell me if I'm catching it right, but that firm foundation,
Yes.
and then also continuing to experiment and emerge. I've been thinking about that over the last 2 days, of how even with, this whole, I'm creating a deck of cards about my work so that someone can interact with one little concept at a time, or one movement, or one archetype, and
Uh-huh.
make it fun, and so the learning can be fun. And what I realized, even though, yes, I've been doing this work actually for 20 years now. This is the 20th anniversary. There's so much, I won't know all of it in my lifetime. People hopefully will continue after I die, continuing to discover in this field, and to experiment and to play. So yes, there's a foundation. There's enough that you know, there's a lot there. So there is this firm foundation, but it doesn't feel, and I don't think it ever will be, if I have anything to do with it, it won't be complete and done. It will continue to emerge through me and the others who try it. So exactly what you said, but it does feel important to me to have, like, I can say with certainty that the pillars and the foundation are reveling in the body, revealing your radiant essence, and receiving what you desire.
Yes.
Those are firm and won't change, but within them and how we do them, there's so much freedom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love what you share. And I really love the 3 R's. I feel like I'm doing it more myself and feeling it manifest more. So very grateful
I
for
see it
your teaching.
manifesting in you. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of like being experimental, so I think in our modern culture, especially as adults, it's being frowned upon, like when we make mistakes, when we have like so-called failures. So what's your relationship with it like? How was it for you throughout the years?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I think that it didn't bother me so much when I was in single digits. I felt very free to be myself, and I wasn't worried about. I did my homework, and even nobody needed to remind me. I put myself to bed. I was I had a lot of agency as a child, but I didn't feel a need to have perfect grades or anything like that until I, frankly, until I had some trauma. And after I had this trauma, for me, it was a sexual trauma. After that, I became very interested in having perfect grades, and I became very harsh. I know this is a word in your vocabulary. I was a harsh director of myself. I mean, I didn't. It's like I wasn't a friend to myself after that. I was expecting a kind of perfection, and but I didn't even receive it. So when I actually started to get all A's, but I didn't receive the joy of it. I only felt the lack of it if I didn't get it. And that was very new. And I really associate that with, I think really that a part of my spirit and soul left my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I was left with almost like without some of my sweetness didn't live in my body anymore.
Yes.
That's one interpretation that I have. Yeah.
Okay.
Did that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
how did that shift after that?
How did it shift after that? Well, I'll tell you the truth. I had this sense. It's almost like, if we continue with this analogy, that the part of my soul and spirit that left to keep the most precious part of me alive, because it didn't feel safe being alive in my body at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
I really do imagine it in my hand is going back, like it's off in the forest,
Mm-hmm.
in the hills in the forest. It's almost like we had a little a whisper, like I was still connected, and I would get instructions, and one was to dance, to actually begin to take dance lessons, which in the past I never needed because I had access to my joyful spirit. I danced like you, Bings, with the beautiful joyful spirit. As a child, I didn't want lessons. They were offered. I said no. But then after the trauma, I actually asked for lessons because I understood that I needed someone else to actually help me regain my, like, to heal my instincts that had been injured, to so that I could have that radiant essence, so it would be safe for it to come back. So I took dance lessons, and it took me almost 20 years to find the right form of dance that really nourished my spirit, because I didn't even know it existed, honestly. But I did. It was dance. It really was. It was dance, and specifically, not just dancing by myself for the pleasure, which is a great pleasure. It was also dancing with someone specific, like performance, someone seeing me.
Mm-hmm.
When I use the word performance, I don't mean perform, like put on an act, like be someone else. I mean, somehow it was very important to me to do the movements that felt the best to me, because I knew that's where my essence was, and to let someone see me while I was doing them. So performance for me is actually a practice in being seen for who I really am, not for another character, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. That's so. It's actually it's so profound. Like I only got to experience this through your workshops, and it makes me want to cry.
Yeah, it's
So
really, yeah.
yeah, and I want to highlight uh, where I feel like this wanting this desire to be seen is
Yeah.
shown in you, which is your open identity center. So you're fully open there with no gates defined. And the identity center is about your sense of self, your direction in life, and also the quality of love that you give and receive. So being fully open there, it means that you have a fluid sense of identity. You can blend in well with other people and in other places. Uh, but you need to trust your instincts on whether it feels right or not. And one of the biggest challenges in having a fully open identity center is that you can feel this shift, this change in the quality of love that you receive because of the people who come in and out of your lives.
Mhm.
And it can make you feel very insecure about whether you are seen or not, whether you are loved or not for who you are and who you choose to be at that time, because your sense of identity is fluid. So I I can I can relate to how it's so important, especially for people who are open in their identity center, to be seen for who they are at
Yeah.
that specific time. And yeah, it's very important for all of us. And I feel like movement is a very profound way to be seen, um, other than just speaking about it, like giving a speech. So I love I love your work. Like even though I don't identify with burlesque,
Doesn't matter.
but I love the principles that you're building behind it, and the tribe of sisters that you bring together is like
Yeah.
so beautiful. And let me just go to. Sorry, I'm so excited.
Oh no, I'm excited for you.
So you the I call this like the typical mother channel.
Yeah.
Sorry, and the typical father channel who brings home the bread, and the mother who passes on values that need to be preserved within the family. So you're like both the mother and the father to your tribe of sisters. So I think that's really beautiful. Can you share more of how you do it? Like how you nourish your tribe and care for your
Mhm.
tribe of
Yeah.
sisters.
It's really what I love is it comes back to this simple place, and I'm very excited. I'm I'm writing a book. It's almost finished. It's a tiny book, and the working title is How to Create a Burlesque Solo from the Inside Out. The subtitle is Never, Ever, Ever Show a Disembodied Boob. Because this is how I do it is I create a space. Right now we use the space of Zoom. Love you, Zoom. In which each each woman uh, can be seen by the others. So I'm actually teaching us how to see another person and how to allow someone to actually see us. And it happens sometimes just through talking, creating intentions, and sharing the intentions with each other of what we choose to feel like, what states, whether it's joy or confidence or what's another intention someone could have?
Feeling loved,
loved, feeling seen,
playful,
whatever is the state. What was that?
playful.
Playful, absolutely. Playful or powerful or occupying your space, whatever it is. It's actually first discovering what it is and naming it out loud in words and having the group support you. And we say it actually in this sweet little phrase of, I'll do one with you.
Okay.
For this hour with you, Bings, for this hour I'm spending with you and with all of you listening, I intend to embody grace, presence, and groundedness. And then you would say to that, so be it or better.
So be it or better.
So that's one very small way of I'm actually revealing to myself and then to you in this formal but short little phrase or mantra what I intend to embody. You're seeing it, you're hearing me, you're supporting me with your words. So that's one way we use the language. And then we also literally allow each other to witness each other. And at the beginning of working together, it's very short, 30 or 40 seconds, really short, where I put on a piece of music that is unknown to the woman. And she has 30 to 40 seconds to just be. She can stand still if she wants to be, to move or to shimmy or to shake or to extend her arms or to circle her chest and be witnessed in that. But not be witnessed for an analysis or a judgment or a critique, either by herself or by the others who are witnessing, but everybody in the room, the witnessers and the mover, are all invited to just notice, how does it feel? How does it feel for the one who's moving? How does it feel to tickle her fingers around her face? How does it feel to touch her hair? How does it feel to roll her shoulders? And she tells us first, afterwards, what did it feel like to be her while she was doing it? And after she shares that, which is not so easy, because the first thought she has might be an analysis of what she did. Most often it is. She might feel, oh, well, I thought what I did was pretty cool in the first few seconds, and then I didn't like it. And then to that, I would say, as a facilitator, that's beautiful. And how did it feel to be you? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for how are you reveling in your body? And after she's complete, I ask all the rest of us who were witnessing, what was it? Not what did you think of what she did? Not did you like it or did you love it? But how did it feel to be you witnessing her? So always guiding us to that. I think that answers it, yeah?
Yes, and it's so interesting. Let me go back to your chat.
Yeah.
Because when you ask, it's like you're setting the little rituals and ground rules.
Yeah.
To maintain a safe space for your sisters. And when the person is performing and asked how she feels, she's actually sensing her defined centers, the part that is consistent within her.
Okay.
And when the person who is watching feels how they feel, they're tuning into their open centers, the white ones in their chart.
Wow.
And they're acknowledging that. So I see that you actually have sort of like a half ratio. That you have five open and four defined.
Yes.
So when you do that, you're showing like a balance. So when the person performing is not being distracted, like feeling she's being judged, then she's not being pulled into her own open centers. She's coming back to ground herself in her divine centers, describing how she feels.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wherever, and it doesn't matter where her defined centers are.
It
They can
doesn't matter. Yeah.
but when she's in herself, she's coming
Yes.
to her defined centers. Oh, that's
Yes.
beautiful.
A consistent self.
Does anybody have all defined or all undefined? Does that exist?
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
only 1% of the world's population have their charts with all white.
Okay.
Yeah, the ones with all
Wow.
colored, I'm not so sure.
But all white, they would be very impressionable, yes?
Yes, yes.
Probably
So
highly psychic, highly,
yeah,
I would
so
imagine.
they reflect the health of their community that they are in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
yes,
Bings, I know you had some beautiful questions about
yes.
gentleness. Do you, I mean, you take us wherever you want to go, but I just remembered that you had some.
Yes. So I like to ask, like, what does gentleness mean to you? Is there another word that you would use to describe it?
You know, I think even though it's not exactly the same thing, I think when I'm talking about gentleness, I'm often talking about sensitivity.
Mhm.
And I'm often meaning gentleness. I'm meaning almost having kindness towards our own sensitivity. So I think I might use, I think it's kind of a combination for me. I might talk about kindness and sensitivity, but I think I'm dancing in that realm of speaking of gentleness. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. So
Okay. Yeah. I more often use kindness
kind
and
of
sensitivity. I think.
sensitivity.
Yeah.
Okay. And what what kind of harshness do your clients come to you? Yeah.
I
What
think
do you see?
the harshness that's the most obvious to me is even if it got instilled from an external experience, it's come to be the harshness of herself towards herself. That
Mhm.
that tends to that's what is living on, and she's feeling the burden of is her own a little bit like what I told you about how I experienced myself um, expecting only A's and but then not enjoying it. I was very, very harsh with myself. Um, I noticed this in women expecting themselves to, for example, if they're doing a dance performance, that they would do it perfectly. And much of what I'm helping them rewire and rework is to come to appreciate that their body is the temple for their spirit. It's not an instrument. It's not an instrument to exact a kind of perfect turn or perfect splits. It's That's not what bodies are for. Bodies are
Yes.
to be relished and loved and paid attention to, just like we would pay attention to a baby or a small child. That's
Yeah.
what our bodies are to us. And so I think that journey of coming from expecting expecting our bodies to have a flat stomach or or a strong arm or to do a perfect movement and go from there to loving the softness of our flesh or loving if we have lots of muscles people whatever it is loving that flesh and really coming doing very simple movements just again like I'll raise my arms extensions are so delicious yes just
Mhm.
like here I am that and coming to not just tolerate but actually genuinely develop affection as we would for another person for our own bodies yeah and our own whatever it is we're doing that we're measuring whether it's doing perfectly at work you know receiving awards, whatever is the external validation that we're measuring ourselves by and deciding whether or not we're worthy of love, shifting that to knowing on a body level that simply because we exist, we are worthy of love.
So beautiful. And it's so strange because like in especially like if you dance for as a profession, it's so harsh. Like
It is.
how do you hold that space for yourself and your clients? Like especially I see you guys, you ladies parade it, and in front of an audience, and you're always not sure how they would react.
Yeah.
How do you like get them to feel safe that it's okay? And
Yeah. It comes, I think, originally from how we are relating to each other during the preparation time.
ah
That it's that experience. I think a lot of women, they tell me anyway, a lot of women tell me that they've had experience receiving more harsh judgment from other women, even than men or parents or employers, that from their women friends, they have felt the most critical reception. And so I'm it very intentionally and happily, seems to consistently work, that they're having the experience of being seen and celebrated by their sisters. So first of all, so they're beginning to see themselves. They see the love and appreciation and acknowledgement coming to them from the eyes of these women who they just met. And so this reflection starts to take hold and they start to see themselves in that way. So by the time we get to the audience of other people who we might not know, it's already growing like a flame within them. And then if we're doing it as a group, they have the support of the other bodies of their sisters near them. And so it's a whole ecology of developing this sense. It's recapturing the original sense of I am, therefore I am beautiful, because I am.
so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
What about in your personal life? What kind of how are you practicing embodying gentleness, kindness?
Oh, it is a daily practice. It is a daily practice. I touch myself a lot. That's one thing, especially during shelter in place, but even before, I stroke my skin. Yeah. Um, yeah. And such a good question. How am I practicing it? Hmm. I actually will, when someone shares a compliment with me or some praise, I will stop and I will actually say, um, I'm opening to receive that. I'm using my words as a spell to help me receive it, because I know I have so much conditioning to just ignore that or to return the compliment immediately. And I know the power of really letting it nourish me, like a bowl of soup or a piece of bread would nourish me. That this reflection of um, these reflections, because I do receive beautiful reflections from others, and I'm still learning how to actually receive it. So, so just consciously practicing and stopping and noticing, when did I deflect that? Did I let that in? I think it's really such a the third R of receiving is still mysterious to me. But I do know this. I know that someone can give us money, they can give us a great job, They can give us a great compliment. It doesn't matter what comes to our door. It's possible that our door is shut and all of that stays outside. It's the only one who can open the door to let the thing in is us.
Yes.
And it's a muscle. We have to go to the receiving gym to build up our receiving muscles to actually experience having what we already have. So I think the way my journey with being kind or gentle with myself is letting myself take the time I need to actually digest all the beautiful things that I already have.
Yes.
Because it takes a lot of it takes a lot. I don't know, but skill is not the word. Maybe you can help me find it. It takes a lot of self-love to receive what we already have. And
I think like what you share is a reflection of how the world is so abandoned. And
what a beautiful word. Yes. So
yeah.
abandoned. Yeah. Yeah.
And we just need to take the time to take in, to receive, instead of complaining that we don't have enough.
Yes. Yes. I think we actually have enough, but we don't eat it. We don't swallow it. We don't touch it. We hold it at arm's length, and we don't even know we're holding it at arm's length. This word you chose, abandoned, I like that. That really points to it. And there's some other A words that I've also heard over the last few years that point to this same state. And one I learned from Sarah Payton of Empathy Brain, alarmed aloneness.
Oh.
This is a state that so many of us in our world are in, a state of alarmed aloneness. And this is a state that neuroscientists have been naming over the last few years or so. It's a variety. It's like grief, but you can just hear it. Alarmed aloneness. I'll make my face in the way alarmed aloneness might look like. It's almost like I don't know if I made the right face. I was trying. It's
a freeze.
It's a freeze. It's freezing in an alone state. So there's the alarm of there's nobody there. There's nobody there. Because that's our feeling. That's the feeling because there are other people there, but we're not receiving each other. Ooh, this feels very important. There actually are other people there, but it's like we're all in our own alone silos next to each other.
Yes.
There are many people there who would love to see us, but we're in these frozen boxes, and humans weren't meant for that. Humans were meant to be in relationship.
Yeah.
And see each other. Yeah.
It's chilling. Scary.
But I think even in this crazy year that we're living in here, that is so challenging on so many levels for everybody on the planet, absolutely everybody. I really think that this is a year that we must learn how to be together with each other. And it's interesting that being alone, forced to be alone, is the thing that I think is causing. If you talk, I think we all know this. We absolutely need each other. And with the challenges of 2020, I think the only way that we will get to continue is if we can learn to appreciate and see and be with each other, and to step out of our alarmed aloneness. Yeah.
So gentleness equals to connection, heart-centered connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and being gentle on the way to it. Like, we have to go in increments that feel safe and okay.
Mm.
We can't, it's not something we can force ourselves on a timeline.
Yeah.
But we can practice. We can practice increasing our gentleness muscles. Because I also think that vulnerability is a note in gentleness. Would you say, Bings?
Yes.
Vulnerability?
Of course, yes.
And we can't do that. We can't just, uh, you know, force vulnerability. It has to come at the pace that is possible for each person. So, and this is where gentleness comes in. We have to have, we have to gently change. But we have a lot to change as a planet and a species and everything that we are, all of creation that we're living with, mostly humans, because most of what's going on is because of humans. That's challenging, but we have to do it gently.
Yeah.
Gently and consistently, and gently, and it's so funny. It's like we need a massive amount of gentleness, but gentleness will always only express itself as gentleness. I think there's a paradox in there that is beautiful and perfect. It's almost like we need lots of gentleness, but lots of gentleness doesn't mean it's going to pile up and become a push. No, it's just lots of gentleness so we can keep, like, that we need to breathe the gentleness.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Move away from the Avengers kind of superpowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, to move away from it in, like, we've been fed that kind of evangelistic superpower in every corner. We've gotten it through religion and through marketing, um, through medical care, kind of just like, this is the way, everyone turn left, everyone turn right. And that is a recipe for what is happening now. And clearly what's happening now is not the direction. So we, you can't make an army of gentleness. It has to be organic. It has to, we need to, if we can use this term, infect each other with gentleness.
Mm. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much. Before we end, is there any last words you want to share with us about gentleness?
No, I want to hear something from you, Bings. Will you tell us something? I want to know something about gentleness from you. I feel like I've shared enough.
uh,
Your mind of what's on your mind this week about gentleness.
I really love what you say about connection, because I've just started my sort of career path, trying to be a medium writer, and
Yay!
it is thank you. It is so easy to get overwhelmed and feel like there's competition all around, and you just feel like you're being pushed before you can feel good enough to create and publish stuff. But when I look around in the world of medium, to ask for support, to connect with people, and to have a sincerity to learn, to connect, then there's this softness that
Oh,
comes, and it feels easier to want to create
so
and
glad.
to share my love instead of like pushing, this is my latest article, read it. Yeah.
That's
So
beautiful.
yeah, it feels much better when I keep in mind this KPI, this being allow myself to be guided by gentleness.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Oh my gosh, this has been my pleasure. I find your field, Bings, so I would say is strong and gentle. Gentleness is not anti-strength. That feels exciting. I don't know what you think. I know we're trying to close, but this just hit me.
Yeah.
Gentleness and strength can coexist,
Yes.
and beautifully so. Ah, yeah. Because that's what I experience in your presence, is your
Right.
strength and your gentleness at once, like they're completely married. And in that space, I feel safe. In your space with you, I feel safe to find my truth and share it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for this sharing this lovely hearty chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bing.